Today, we're going to be talking about the Evie dress and what went wrong, what were the major grievances, what essentially happened for this dress to be like, for at least a week, the most hated dress on the internet. Let's dive into it on my seventh, I believe, episode of A Real Trad Wife Reacts. Welcome back, lovely feminine friends. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Cynthia. If you are new to the channel, I make femininity content and I talk about all things homemaking, being a traditional wife, and mother. If those are topics that interest you, please hit the subscribe button, like any video that you enjoy, leave your comments down below, join the community, and if you want to take it a step further and you want to support the message of my channel, I would love it so much if you would consider becoming a member, because every dollar from that side of the channel goes directly back into producing more content here, better content for you. You might have noticed over the past couple weeks, editing has gotten better, all thanks to the member side of the channel, where I also produce some more like exclusive and personal content over there. So anyway, let's talk about the Evie dress, the dress that broke the internet, the dress that many people had colorful things to say about. I want to first summarize what this dress is. I will put a picture of it on the screen. It is called the Rawmilkmaid Dress, and it was released in December 2024. I know I'm a little bit late to my review because, like I said at the beginning, I am a wife and mother, a full-time wife and mother, so my turnaround is a little bit slow. Thank you so much for all those of you who bear with me. But according to The Cut, it raised significant criticism. It was marketed as 100% embodying feminine energy, and it was inspired by 17th century European dairymaids. The dress was, I don't know if they directly said it, but it was implied that it was appealing to the trad wife trend in terms of aesthetic, and that is right up my alley because I consider myself a traditional wife as well, and I have for 5 years on the internet. Doesn't matter, but I think I have a couple things that I could add about the realistic nature of this dress. To summarize the criticisms about this dress on the internet when it was released, particularly with regards to the Instagram comment section, and a few people who I saw that I follow reviewed it on their stories, the readers of Evie magazine had problems with the dress being a little bit too revealing. There was also the practicality aspect of it. A few commentators talked about how, as a mother, it would be difficult to bend over, to be playful with your children. And many people alluded to the fact that Evie magazine advertises themselves as a conservative magazine. So a lot of times, in the same vein, when we talk about conservative values, we emphasize modesty, and they were basically saying that this dress is not modest, therefore not conservative. Others brought up the historical aspect of the milkmaid, of the history of sex workers, as well as exploiting the bodies of the milkmaid. So they were saying we shouldn't glorify this dress. And another big point that might have caught some people by surprise is the criticism of $189. One being because many conservative readers who are stay-at-home moms might not be able to afford a $189 dress. There's also the factor that Evie magazine, although they are US based and they largely appeal to a US audience, they have a international audience because the aspects of femininity and conservatism are a widely Western phenomenon right now. So $189 USD, which is a lot for somebody to spend on a dress. I'm not an expert on fabrics, but if anybody down below wants to comment their opinion on the fabrics and the price point, we are open to conversation on this topic. The modesty concerns in particular were accented on the neckline. Evie magazine did respond by showing different pictures of the models with smaller busts, because their main model they chose has definitely more than a double D cup. I have a D cup, and so she's probably like 3 times larger than me. However, they did point out that you can see that it looks a little bit more modest on somebody with a smaller bust, so they did backtrack in that respect. And in terms of the price and the quality, I believe that they accented that some of the production was at least created or designed in the USA, and they're a small company, so of course if you're paying to support like a small company, you're going to be paying more. You're not only buying a dress, you are supporting a smaller company. Although there's been a big conservative surgence in the West, as we see in like voting polls, that doesn't always translate to social conservative, so socially conservative media is still less popular. Now let's get into my own personal opinion on this dress and my own reaction of the drama that went down surrounding this dress. Now, first off, I want to say personally, supporting a small business or a movement or something like that, I would pay $189 for it. Even though, I'm a stay at home mom, I am a conscious consumer as well. I'm a low waste consumer and I watch every dollar that I spend. If it was supporting a cause or like a business that I believe and I support their message, $189 USD would still purchase. However, I do understand that, this, even with careful consumption, can potentially be out of the range for many stay-at-home moms, and I'm sympathetic to that as well. The fact of fabric for me personally isn't a factor in deciding that. However, the concerns about the neckline in particular, regardless of if we're talking about like an A cup versus a G cup, an F cup, whatever cup that original model is, that would be my biggest concern, because I only wear things that are lower cut if they are athletic dresses, as you can see through some of my vlogs, because I know that there will be no spilling out of the dress. I do want to say, like I mentioned at the beginning, Evie magazine, as they have become more popular, they've concentrated their efforts more so on like the political side of the conservative movement, and that's why on my channel I keep it pretty bipartisan, because I do believe that socially conservative values, traditional values, aren't always in adjacent with politically conservative values. And also, I do want to bring light to the fact that I've been in the traditional wife space for a long time making content, and I do believe that it's important to understand this group of people. This dress, I think, sparked debate for many people based on the fabric, the price, the silhouette, the revealingness. All of these culminate to show that they don't grasp the concept of the target audience, which are outcasts. So, space of the traditional feminine woman thrives because it is unified by the fact that we are outcasts. We are all looking for something that isn't as mainstream but still appeals to our femininity. And this dress borderlines a little bit too much on the mainstream, and it doesn't grasp the concept of the outcast. There was also a lot of backlash because, as women who want to look sexy, who want to look feminine and exude femininity, we might like this dress, but we understand as traditional wives trying to be more modest, but also trying to be practical, playing outside with our kids, having a very versatile lifestyle as a traditional wife or a traditional feminine woman can't be practically done with this dress. And there are countless thousands of dresses out there that are aesthetically beautiful, but not practical. And so that also brings up a big aspect of the frustration that many of us feel when trying to find dresses. I wear a lot of athletic dresses in the summer, but I don't quite like to be doing that. I want to wear something flowy, but something that also I can move and pick up my bike and go on a bike ride with my kids and be active, go to the splash pad. I don't necessarily want to wear a lower cut dress, but that's just what I am bound to by the constraints of what's out there. So I think that a lot of women also took out their frustration out on Evie for this reason. And I think perhaps the backlash was maybe a little bit too great. But I do want to end on a note that I would love your feedback down below and your personal opinion on this, whether you agree or disagree with anything that I said, what you think they should have done better, what they did wrong, or if you think that it's totally fine, the dress that they put out, and people are just having an overreaction. I want to hear it down below. Start a conversation, have, of course, a respectful conversation down below. And I also do want to end off with the fact that despite what my personal opinions are surrounding this dress, I want to applaud Evie Magazine for putting out content that isn't so mainstream, that is also still a place for women to find content that is more traditional. And so regardless of what I personally believe about the dress, I still support them. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, become a member if you want to further support my message. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.